dogfighter. The P-51 was a sleek, thoroughbred racehorse compared to the P-47's draft horse stamina and brute strength. So, in the lead-up to the Normandy invasion, a new mission was envisioned for the Thunderbolt. Its ruggedness and heavy armament made it ideal for strafing and dive bombing.
The P-47 became the dominant fighter of the 9th Air Force, primarily because it was such an extremely versatile and effective ground attack airplane.
Thunderbolt pilots of the 9th Air Force were seldom called on to dogfight. But if attacked, they were more than ready. June 14, 1944. P-47s of the 368th Fighter Group climbed to altitude after attacking German ground positions. 21-year-old Lieutenant George Sutcliffe forms up on his squadron commander, Colonel John Hessler. They are RTB, returned to base. Sutcliffe, his head on a swivel, is the first to spot the danger lurking above.
I turned back to take a look. Out of the clouds came a whole gaggle, they call them, a bunch of black things. I thought it looked like a bunch of rats coming out of the clouds in back of us.
No less than 40 ME-109s are descending on the 4 Thunderbolts.
Squadron commander's still on the radio, talking to us about looking for targets. He's yakking away, and these ME-109s are coming up on us pretty quickly. I'm hollering to the squadron commander. I'm saying, "Break left, Colonel, break left."
The ME-109s open fire just as Sutcliffe's frantic calls get through.
When he heard me, he broke. He pulled up. I pulled up with him.
The Thunderbolts are split up in the frenzy. Sutcliffe squeezes off a burst as a German moves through his windscreen. Some of his .50 caliber rounds strike home.
The squadron commander hollered, "There's too damn many of these guys. Let's get out of here. Get in the clouds." He had a paddle prop, which was the latest, and the paddle prop was really a benefit in climbing.
The wider paddle propeller scoops more air with each rotation, improving the Jug's rate of climb. John Hessler and element lead Marv Rosville easily reach the clouds, but George Sutcliffe and Robert Bechtold are left behind. The two Americans are vastly outnumbered. 2 Jugs versus 40 ME-109s. The ME-109 was the most produced fighter of the war. It was equipped with 2 13mm machine guns and 1 20mm cannon mounted in the prop hub. The ME-109 turns better, but the P-47 is tougher and heavier, giving it the edge in a dive, but making it slower than the 109 in a climb. Sutcliffe is here. There are too many 109s on all sides of him to make a break for the clouds. He'll try to blast out of the furball and dive for safety.
I figured I'm going to need everything I've got here. I just pushed the throttle, and I hit the button for the water injection. And that plane just took right off. It was moving pretty good.
Water injection was widely used during World War II. A limited quantity of water methanol mixture could be injected into the engine cylinders for cooling purposes.
The Jug's engine howls as he barrels through the furball.
I just put my head down. I got down in the cockpit to make myself as small a target as I could. I can remember just peeking over that, I'm going into this bunch of 109s.
Sutcliffe fires at anything that crosses his flight path. Then pitches down in a steep dive. But he can't shake 2 Messerschmitts that stay on his tail.
gaining on me. So in my mind, I say, this is stupid. I can't get away this way.
There's not enough altitude for Sutcliffe to dive away from the ME-109s. His mind races.
Someone had indicated that the 109 does not turn as well to the right as it does to the left. I don't know where that came from, but it stuck in my mind. So I started a tight right-hand spiral going up to try to get in the clouds.
The tight defensive spiral will prevent the Messerschmitts from putting their gun sights on the Thunderbolt. But Sutcliffe will lose airspeed in the climb, threatening a stall before he reaches the clouds. Sutcliffe pulls hard while hitting right rudder. The Thunderbolt responds smartly. The 109s break off their attack. While in the spiral, Sutcliffe spots the only other Jug still in the fight. Robert Bechtold.
I saw him, he had a 109 on his tail, and he was getting hit pretty good. And he started to burn, and he bailed out.
Now alone and close to stalling, Sutcliffe releases back pressure and levels the wings. There are 20 Messerschmitts orbiting 1,500 feet above him, preventing his run for the clouds.
They did get organized, and they had two what we call luftberries right under the cloud cover, the bottom of the clouds.
The Germans have formed two counter-rotating Luftberry circles at 2,000 feet. If Sutcliffe tries to run in any direction, they can easily dive onto his tail and shoot him down. Sutcliffe knows his options are few.
I just didn't have enough power to get that 2,000 feet into the cloud layer.
The Germans circle overhead. They're hunting as a pack, waiting for their prey to weaken. A grueling battle is about to unfold. June 14, 1944. P-47 Thunderbolt pilot George Sutcliffe is outnumbered and trapped at low level. At least 20 Messerschmitts are blocking his means of escape. A cloud base at 2,000 feet. As Sutcliffe's mind races through his options, a single ME-109 drops from the Luftberry to make a pass. Sutcliffe is here. The 109 is here. Sutcliffe's best option is to make a sudden snap roll to dive for the deck and throw the 109 off his tail.
I waited and waited the last split second. I'm sure he was going to go right through me.
Sutcliffe rolls. Cannon shells rip into his left wing.
I'm going for the deck again, head first, and I haven't got far to go.
The dive builds precious airspeed, energy he can convert to altitude to climb ever closer to the clouds. Hard back on the stick. Under the force of 6 Gs, he's close to blacking out.
It's a little harrowing experience. I couldn't see, but I had, just, I don't know what you call it, you know what you're doing. You're not unconscious. Your blood comes back to your eyes and you're just back to normal.
Sutcliffe will use the airspeed he's built up in the dive to enter another climbing spiral that will help throw off the Germans' attack runs while getting him nearer the safety of the clouds.
So with these tight spirals, I was going pretty fast at the beginning, but with my nose almost straight up in a tight turn. I killed all the aerodynamics, so there was no lift. It was just this beautiful big Pratt & Whitney engine that was pulling me and this 7-ton airplane straight up.
To prevent a stall, Sutcliffe is forced to level off. The moment where he's most vulnerable to attack.
I'm starting to level out, hoping I can get into the clouds. And the 109 came down from the left. He was going too fast.
The ME-109 overshoots the turn, then does something completely unexpected.
He pulled up and slid right into me, just maybe 25, 30 feet away. It was just like flying formation with me. And I could see him clearly, he could see me clearly. He just looked at me and shook his head, and I looked at him, I shook my head. I took it the fact that he was probably saying, "There's no way you're going to get out of here."
A moment's silent acknowledgement between two warriors, and the fight continues.
He was hanging on a stall just like I was, but he started to just come back a little bit so he could get an angle on me. And just as I saw the nose where I felt he's going to let me have it, I pulled up, I went right over his canopy.
Sutcliffe's hands and feet are a flurry of coordinated action. Full back on the stick, right aileron and rudder. Yet another attack is foiled. He dives for airspeed and again pulls up into a climbing spiral. Another attempt to reach the clouds.
I'm flying the old Thunderbolt, which we call a Razorback. Didn't have a bubble canopy, so it was difficult to see directly in back of you. And all of a sudden, traces come by both sides of my canopy.
Sutcliffe is here. Another ME-109 is here in his blind spot.
I yanked the stick, I hit the rudder, and I did a quick snap roll, and he did hit me with that 20 millimeter.
The armor plate behind his headrest deflects the blast.
It just gave me a jolt, and I was so hepped up it didn't make much difference.
Sutcliffe is forced away from the clouds and into yet another power dive. He pulls back on the stick, but the controls are sluggish. The jug has taken some serious hits.
I'm pulling back, and then I'm having a heck of a lot of trouble getting it. So I wrapped my leg around it and put two hands on it to get out of that dive.
Sutcliffe barely clears the trees. He's exhausted and drenched in sweat. He's been fighting for his life for 15 minutes. Sutcliffe knows this has to end.
I figured the next one I might not be able to pull out. So I was just figured that I'm going to have to make a run for it.
Sutcliffe begins another climbing spiral. This one will be decisive. It's now or never.
I looked around again, and I didn't see anybody coming at me, so I leveled off and tried to get in the clouds. I'm probably 1,500 feet. I got another 500 feet to go.
Another German 109 drops from the Luftberry to attack. Intent on downing the lone P-47 once and for all. The German streaks in full throttle, building up excess speed in the dive. He chops power and throws in left rudder. The move puts him abreast of Sutcliffe's right wing.
He pulled in close to me again as we were going up. When I was so close to the clouds, I wasn't about to make any changes. If he was going to get me, he was going to get me, but I was going to go in the cloud.
Sutcliffe's engine howls as he claws for altitude. The 109's machine guns inch closer to the Thunderbolt's vulnerable 6. It's an all-out race for the clouds. June 14, 1944. P-47 Thunderbolt pilot George Sutcliffe is racing for the safety of a cloud deck. A German ME-109 inches closer to firing position. Sutcliffe teeters on the edge of stall as the turbocharged 2800 radial pulls the 7-ton jug towards safety. After 18 agonizing minutes, George Sutcliffe finally breaks into the clouds, closely flanked by the ME-109.
And when we got up, just covered with the clouds, he rolled over. I saw his belly roll over and he went out. So I'm thrilled that I'm in the clouds.
In an incredible display of airmanship, George Sutcliffe has outflown 20 Germans and lived to tell about it.